Welcome to another episode of the 50 Shades of NBA podcast. My name is Trey.
I'm Nathan.
And this is episode 39, a.k.a. the Dwight Howard podcast.
A.k.a. the Greg Ostertag podcast.
There we go. There's our little number game to start off the show.
Utah Jazz great.
Utah Jazz great. Dwight Howard, Philadelphia 76ers great.
Los Angeles Lakers great. Probably the greatest center to ever play for the Lakers.
I'm just going to let that one sit there. I will say, possibly the greatest center to ever play for the Magic. Depending on where you have him against Shaquille. I mean, obviously Shaquille probably beats him, in my opinion, and probably in your opinion, and in most opinion, but there's definitely Dwight Howard truthers out there.
No, there definitely are.
Yeah. So there's value in mentioning it.
You know what, Trey? There's definitely value in mentioning it.
Is he the greatest center to ever play for the Atlanta Hawks?
Oh.
Because, he wasn't great at it for the Hawks, but in terms of, how great he is and the teams he's played for, he's probably the greatest center to ever play for Charlotte.
Okay.
Is he the greatest center to ever play for the Hawks?
All right. Now that you say that, I'm going to look up some Atlanta Hawks centers.
Recent history, is Al Horford is all I can really think of for, impactful centers. Clint Capella isn't in that same world. Neither is Al Horford, to be fair. But super interesting. Super food for thought, you know?
Yeah, we'll have to circle back around to this later. Maybe midway through the podcast when I get a good list for you.
Okay.
But we'll revisit this.
We'll revisit it, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, I was just going to say, for after the finals ending, it was honestly a pretty busy, week since we last, did our podcast in the NBA.
Yeah, it was. It's everyone decided to put all their news on hold to let the finals happen.
Literally. And we knew one of the announcements that was going to break, the John Morant suspension.
Yep.
And we'll get into that in a second. But yeah, a lot else happened, moves around the league. Well, one specific big move, but a lot of trade talks heating up around the league. And I don't know, we got a pretty decent news-filled podcast for you guys.
Yeah, let's start off with the John Morant suspension, because I feel like it's the most commonly well-known one, and it bridges the gap well from last week.
Mm-hmm.
So John Morant was handed a 25-game suspension by Adam Silver. I believe that's right, right? Yeah, 25-game suspension. Sorry, I had to go back to the spreadsheet. How you feel about that suspension? Too long, too short, just right?
I'm pretty happy about it, game-wise. I think when it first came out that, he's going to get in trouble, and we're looking at the All-NBA, games needed or whatever, it's 60-something, right around there. Around the 60-game ballpark. I thought he would, be snubbed suspension-wise just to barely not be eligible for it, and it's kind of what we see here. I think he has a game or two more than what the cutoff would have been, but yeah, I'm happy with the suspension length.
I think I'm in the same boat as you. I thought he would definitely make sure they held him underneath that 65-game threshold, which they did. He's now eligible to play in 57 games. I believe it's 82 minus 25, but I'm bad at math.
Yeah.
But yeah, so there's that. I think that's probably was where they started, right? As I said, he needs to only be eligible for 64 games at max, and then they just went back from there. I think 25 games kind of rounds it out well. I think it's a little high, honestly. Just because, again, he didn't break any laws per se, right? He just violated code of conduct with the NBA.
Yeah.
Which, hey, of course, they don't want that. And he, he is the rules that the NBA enforces are there and need to be given the strength to actually have these suspensions held up.
Yeah. I think going from where his apology was, his supposed heart-to-heart with Adam Silver, Um, he Silver probably felt a little betrayed. It's like, oh, okay, he had the one slip up, the 8-game suspension in the year, moved past it. He went to his clinic or whatever in Florida
Mm-hmm.
and made all the public apologies. PR wise, the first offense, like everything was good, water under the bridge, and then you get this here in the off season, and I think Adam more or less took it like a slap in the face. Like, damn,
Adam took it personally.
Yeah, he might have taken a little personally, hence a couple extra game suspension. And I think mathematically, money wise, he's gonna miss out on like upwards of 15 million or something like that, just for games played. I saw that somewhere. Someone can check me.
I'll check you.
But yeah, you check me. Yeah. So obviously significant financial hit. Yeah, I think Adam, he's kind of set a precedent to other players in the league that, hey, first time will be lenient, 8-game suspension. 8 games is really nothing in an 82 game series or season. So you hit that 25, and yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot else to say about it because he misses the All-Star or All-NBA teams, misses a contract extension, the Supermax. So in the immediate, it hurts. Also, long-term financially, it hurts him. I was kind of curious to see how Nike would react to it because when Kyrie's stuff broke out, and granted different circumstances, when Kyrie's news broke out, they dumped him, and then with Ja's suspension the second time around, they're public about their support and belief in Ja and, turning the circle, turning the corner to living a better life and being a better role model. Yeah. So Math, what you got?
So Math, what I got. So he was scheduled to make, or in his contract is $33,500,000 next year. And he's gonna be missing. I have the percentage somewhere here in my calculator history. He's gonna be eligible for 69.512% of games.
Okay. Yep.
So that means he only gets about 70% of his salary. So he's losing out on about $10 million.
Okay. I have highballed it a good 5 mil, but
what's 5 mil?
Yeah, what's 5 mil to these guys?
5 mil is what would take our podcast to the next level. So if the NBA wants to instead give us $5 million,
yeah, you want to donate? We can
donate the job.
I have an NBA contact. I have an NBA contact. JJ Redick liked one of my tweets, so
that's right. I remember that.
I'll hit up JJ. See who he can talk to.
Come on, JJ.
Get that money.
Get the money over here.
Direction.
Or just give us some advertising. Say,
yeah,
listen to the 50 Shades of NBA podcast, and we can double our
on your own
base.
podcast. Exactly.
Perfect. Come on, do it, JJ. Do it.
I love it.
I do want to shout out our fans though, because apparently we have some.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot, but we have some.
We
have now all-time history over 1,000 downloads, so that's pretty cool.
Very cool.
If anyone wants to sponsor us, now like we won't be complaining. Like
always open.
I can do an ad read. I can be like, oh, this episode of the 50 Shades of NBA Pod is brought to you by Cough Drops.
Fill in the blank. By Cough Drops.
Had to look around. By Nintendo Switch. I love my Nintendo Switch. I use it to play this game.
Get sponsored by Lego.
Get sponsored. I would lose my mind if I got sponsored by Lego. I don't know to the fans who listen to this. I don't know if this is like a well-known thing for all of you, but the people who make this podcast, at least like one of them, is just a massive nerd. So that's cool.
No, I'd say both.
You'd say both?
Count me in there. Yeah.
At least you have.
I might not be on your level.
The athleticism, though.
It's a thing of the past. I'm in retirement mode now.
You still have 2 years of eligibility. Come on.
It's so true. How could I forget?
We gotta find our crappy D3 school. You'll walk onto their basketball team.
Absolutely.
I'll get shredded for it, Nathan. I'll work out so much.
Okay.
I'll eat nothing but 1 ice cube a day.
Ice Cube and chicken and rice.
I love chicken and rice.
I do too. It's actually so good.
It's
So see, it won't be that hard,
it's
right?
not even that bad. Like, it's the workout part for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Let's do it.
The actual like
find the D3 school.
Okay.
Okay. That being said, do you wanna talk any more about Ja Morant? You got anything else you want to say about it?
No, I don't have anything else with him.
It is crazy that like crazy. Minutes after, not minutes, but like minutes in terms of like trying to put this in the rear view, he was caught again on on camera on Instagram Live once again.
Yep. Oh, I guess I do have one more thing to add. Apparently Ja came out, or someone in his camp came out and said, "Oh, the gun was a toy gun," and then he posted said toy gun. A little bit later after the suspension came out, and was just trying to say, "Oh, it wasn't a real gun. Like it's just a toy gun. Look, here it is." Oh, it's TMZ who leaked that.
Oh, I heard about that.
Yeah, TMZ leaked it, but yeah, I thought that was also not the best look if you're Ja Morant after you got this suspension. Like just let it be water under the bridge as much as you can.
Yeah, like just move forward. You're gonna have to serve the 25 games no matter what. Best case scenario, it gets kind of like moved into maybe a 20 game suspension. That's about as low as I can really see it going. But I think at some point if you're Ja, you just have to try to move past this and just kind of figure it out from there.
Absolutely. Another dude in Ja's draft class, Zion Williamson, also has been in the center of a lot of different stories, headlines in the NBA. I'll stick to the on the court stuff. If you're curious about the off the court stuff, just go on Twitter and look up his name, and I'll leave it at that. But yeah, so what I've seen a lot of for Zion specifically is him wanting out, or people thinking he should be out of New Orleans just because of his lack of court presence, his lack of availability. Doesn't seem to want to be there. And there's a team up in Portland who, if they want to keep their superstar and Damian Lillard happy, are going to need to make a trade, or a draft day acquisition for a superstar, and Zion fits that. Good change of scenery for him. So win in that department, and New Orleans could get the number 3 overall pick. And I guess they really like Scoot Henderson a lot. So if he falls there, then, but.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a strange situation with Zion. I mean, I would love to just only talk about his on the court stuff, but he just hasn't been on the court in forever. I think when he's on the court, he is legitimately like one of the most dominant players in the entire NBA. I would love Zion in a Philadelphia 76ers uniform. I don't think that'd be a good city for him, honestly. Which is why I really love the Portland connection there. I think him and Dame for the 42 games that they'd be able to play together would be probably the most dominant duo in the entire NBA. But that's only if Zion wants to be there, commits to being there, commits to playing, all the things. 'Cause it's like, there's legitimately someone who has been out of the league for over a year. I don't remember who it was. It's someone from his draft class, or it's from the draft class after, who is currently out of the league and has appeared in like 130 games, and Zion's only appeared he's got like 30 more games than Zion. He's been out of the league for a year, and he's younger than him. Like, it's insane.
Terrible.
It's insane, and it's just like there's the whole thing last year with CJ McCollum where like Zion hadn't even contacted him yet. All these things. They were talking about it, and it's just crazy how we went, from, wow, the Pelicans really could be a dynasty with Zion, VI, and CJ, to holy crap, like Zion doesn't even want to be there. When are we going to see?
We're going to see this dude on the court.
When are we going to see this dude on the court? When are we going to be able to see his dominance again? And then, I was always, super pro Zion. I still am, to be so honest with you. But I was super pro Zion, and like, I don't know how long it takes to recover from that injury. I've never had that injury. It could be a lot harder than I expect. And then it comes out that he's just like flying women out and all these things, and it's just like he's gonna be a dad. He's got other people like mentioning him by name on Twitter.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, dang, dude, like you have the world. And I'll be honest with you, he has the money. I think he's on a like 5-year, $198 million deal.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, he could never play again and be totally fine. You know?
Absolutely.
It's just his legacy of being that first overall pick. Dude was he was the most hyped since LeBron at his time, right? Coming out of high school, that dude was dominant. Coming into everything else, that dude was dominant. But you have players who are just like not as talented or physically gifted as you, making championships. Like Michael Porter Jr., same draft class, injury history concerns, same thing. High school phenom. He was projected to go first overall when he went to Missouri, and then in Missouri he had the back injury and couldn't play the entire year, and then he had back injuries since then. But dude just stuck around, like has continued to work, continued to get better, and we haven't seen that from Zion yet. So that's just, it's really hard to see as a Zion fan, as someone who is so pro Zion. I do have a buddy who went to college with us who was very, I remember him saying to me the year we were getting ready for the Zion class, he was like, I really think Zion's going to be a bust. And I think it's because he's never going to play like more than half the games in a year. It was crazy.
Looking really smart right now.
It was crazy.
You're looking really smart right now.
Yeah. So shout out, Bo.
Bo.
Yeah.
I love that. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah. I think so much frustration too, if you're a Pelicans fan, and like, I don't know about frustration for me, but like disappointed because I can't see him on the court, is because he was such a highly touted, recruit and prospect, like quite literally a generational player when he's on the court and playing, because like you said, he is so physically dominant that it's just like there's very few NBA players that can match that, So I think the NBA and NBA fans have more or less been robbed of being able to see his presence and his greatness. So I'll be curious to see if he does get moved in this off season. And I guess a hot take for me just on that thought is I think Zion will be in a different jersey come the turn of the season.
What team? Give me a team right now this second.
I would love him to be in.
Portland's the obvious choice because the culture there is so incredible. And
the Knicks.
Leader. The Knicks. I like it. He does love Madison Square Garden, and he does love RJ Barrett.
It would make the one dude who got a Zion Williamson New York Knicks tattoo in like 2019 feel all the better.
He said he was just gonna keep it. He also doesn't he have KD and Kyrie on that tattoo though?
I think he does.
I think he does.
Yeah, very poor choices of
that was supposed to be the year. That was draft Zion, sign KD, sign Kyrie, and they just went, I guess we'll go to Brooklyn instead. And Zion went to freaking New Orleans.
Ridiculous.
I think my hot take of where I think he's gonna go, the only team with enough draft capital to really justify that without giving up a top pick is the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think it'd be a nasty. Just imagine, like, even if he only plays playoffs, right? You have a front court of Chet Holmgren, Zion Williamson. You'll have Lou Dort shutting people down. You'll have Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with a bench of top 10 players, like top 10 pick players.
No, that's mean. That's a mean.
That's why
team.
they take over 2K.
That is so true. Yeah, give it a year or two, and they're always winning it. Yeah, that's ridiculous. Damn, I like that.
Yeah, that being said, Portland's where I hope he goes. And I think for you it is as well. Because
definitely is. I just want to see Dame happy.
I want to see Dame happy, but if anyone can set Zion straight, it'd be Damian Lillard and the Trailblazers. They straight up have the best chemistry in the entire NBA every single season, no matter what.
Word. I like that.
Especially when CJ was there. But even now, like when they traded for Matisse Thybulle, they were sitting on a plane, freestyling, and in his verse, he was like, gotta pick up Thybulle from the Sixers because they were misusing him or something. And he points at Thibault, and Thibault's just smiling, all happy, because he has the most infectious smile and most infectious laugh in the entire NBA. And God, I miss him.
Oh, poor Trey, my Sixers fan.
Man, sorry. I'm so happy we traded him for Jalen McDaniels.
Ooh, so true. Trey's just looking up at the ceiling.
I'm just thinking about all the possessions that we could have had Matisse Thybulle guarding Jason Tatum when he was dropping 50 on our head.
Fair enough.
Just thinking about it, how great that would have been. Just throw Thybulle in there. The dude who shot 40% from 3 for the Trailblazers. Nah, it's no big deal.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely
that
his
dude?
fault.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty heated still.
No, it's okay. Understandably so. I would be too.
Yeah, I miss him so much.
I get that, Trey.
He's a restricted free agent.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah.
I don't know why Portland wouldn't bring him back.
They're going to.
Mm-hmm. It's only right. Help Chauncey out.
I'm so upset.
All right, Trey. We did reference our good friend Bo, who happens to be a Phoenix Suns fan, and there's a big deal, a Beal deal that went down the past couple days with Bradley Beal of the Washington Wizards to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for Chris Paul, a 39-year-old Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, who you could tell us a little bit about, former Sixer, and a handful of seconds and a handful of pick swaps. That's the trade details right now.
So, first and foremost, I am amazed with how much the Wizards got for Bradley Beal in his $250 million contract.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was time for the Wizards to blow it up. I think this also is bad, though, for Kristaps Porzingis' free agency, because the Wizards aren't going to be trying to bring him back anymore. At least they shouldn't be. Because then if they do, you're going to be stuck with that, with basically the Kevin Love situation when he was in Cleveland.
Mm-hmm.
Given a guy a max contract you don't intend to keep around.
Yep.
So there's that. I think it sucks for Kristaps. I think it was a needed reset for the Wizards. I mean, their best draft picks, Johnny Davis, Deni Avdija, and Rui Hachimura. Like, what are you really going to accomplish with that core next to Bradley Beal?
And one of those dudes isn't even on the team.
Exactly. I mean, you're giving up on your guys. Rui played well for the Lakers, but they just didn't want to pay him, which they made the right move of moving on from him, because why would you want to be tied down to these very, I don't want to say mid, but mediocre NBA players? I think Deni Avdija took great strides this last season. I think it's going to be good to see him, what he can do. Kyle Kuzma's probably gone, but we already knew that. Kristaps Porzingis is probably gone. I think it was a necessary reset for the Wizards. On the Suns side, I don't think this moves the needle for me. I don't. I really
why?
don't think it does. So what are you gonna do? Landry Shamet was your last remaining decent role player. I was making my list today that I was telling you about of my free agents, of all the free agents in the league, of the top 117 free agents.
Yeah,
8 of them are Phoenix Suns players. That's crazy. They have 5 players on the roster, and some of the names Svi Mikhailiuk was playing last year for the Suns, dude.
What's the one Josh dude? Josh Lumbeck or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Jock Londale.
Yeah, Londale. Jock Londale.
He's probably gone too, if I'm being so honest. Let me see if I can find my spreadsheet. I'll get you the exact number, but I just don't really know what the Suns are doing. I don't necessarily think Bradley Beal makes them significantly better with the loss of Chris Paul and Landry Shamet. Unless you can split, DeAndre Ayton into a serviceable point guard, a serviceable center, and another bench player, I really don't know where you're going with this anymore.
That's fair. When I saw it happen, I at first was like, damn, I thought Bradley Beal would have gone for a little more, other than a old Chris Paul and Landry Shamet, who on his best days is a good role player,
He's a great role player.
I maintain. But I go back to the Phoenix Suns side, and to me, it kind of made sense because they're already going to be so bound by the cap and pushing that salary or the luxury tax, you know? So what's adding one more star to the mix? They're not going to be able to sign any, you know, of the higher end free agents for the mid levels, stuff like that. They would have had to fill out their roster with minimums, league minimums anyway. So to me, it makes sense for them to go all in and realize the situation that they are in, add some star power when they could. And Bradley Beal is that. He's a star. I do think it's interesting. They're going to have to sign a good. Oh my God. Okay, I see Trey saying Zion to the Trailblazers.
Did
that just happen?
That's not directly broken. It's a video of. Sorry. It's a video
like what?
Of the Hornets saying they're gearing up to take Brandon Miller.
Oh, word.
Yeah, go ahead and delete that tweet because I can see the misinformation spreading right now.
So good.
Go ahead and delete that tweet.
Oh my gosh, could you imagine?
Hey, it would have been crazy. It would have been crazy.
It would have been crazy. Yeah, I don't know. I do love the move by Phoenix. Yeah, we're gonna have to fill it out with dudes making the minimum anyway. Might as well get another dude who could be a prolific scorer for you.
They would have had to if they didn't trade for Bradley Beal.
Like how you be able to get one maybe mid-level exception dude or a dude who's making a little bit more.
Let me walk you through this, right?
Okay.
So you started off, you have Chris Paul, you have Devin Booker, you have KD, you have DeAndre Ayton. That's your 4 big ones. If you cut Chris Paul or if you trade Chris Paul, right? That's $15 million that are alleviated from the salary cap, right? They're not underneath it at that point, but it's still an alleviation. It's enough of an alleviation to like justify if they just cut him and take the 15, they can justify using the full taxpayer mid-level exception on 2 players. I think it's $8.79 million, something like that. I could be wrong about that number. It could be lower. That also might be the non-taxpayer mid-level exception. That might be where I'm getting it from. But they can use that to get, let's say they get 2 players, one for $6 million, one for $2 million, right? Those are both, whatever, not bad little additions. The $6 million guy is probably pretty solid with this year's draft free agency class and how tight money is. And then you have DeAndre Ayton, who you can split into multiple pieces. You can find like a Miles Turner level player along with some couple more bench players. Maybe you get like 1 point guard because we've seen Devin Booker run the point and it sucked. It was awful. It was the year that they had it was the year right after Tyler Ulis was on the Suns. It was awful. It was, I think, their worst season. And then because you're splitting, you could split DeAndre Ayton into 2-3 players. You can get a semi-starting point guard, a semi-starting center, and maybe, an okay bench player. So now you have, a point guard, a shooting guard who's good in Devin Booker, Kevin Durant. You have no DeAndre Ayton, but you have a serviceable center who is really only there to rebound. Think like a prime Tristan Thompson. Or even an Andre Drummond. If you go out and sign Andre Drummond for like $4 million, he can play 28 minutes for you and just rebound and pass the ball to KD. And then you also have 2 to 3 bench players. That's a full 8-man bench to pair with your 2 stars who both may be the best at their position. And I counted it. It's 9. They have 9 free agents.
Respect it. For me, gonna have to go a different direction. I know I'd rather just have those 3 star powers and a center like DeAndre Ayton, the top 10 center in the league.
DeAndre's gone. They're already trading his butt. I don't know where, but
Well, see, worst case, you trade him and get some of those pieces that you talked about. 2, 3 additional players that can help you fill out the roster a little bit better.
Maybe. I don't know. Also, what's going to happen? That better. What's going to happen next year when you have 3 players making $60 million combined, $140 million combined, and a salary cap of $123 million?
The way I see it, it's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of the Warriors when KD went there, or KD with KD's contract, Steph, and then either Clay or Draymond, and they just filled out the rest of their team with a bunch of, dudes who are good enough to be in the league, but not household names.
But
Quinn Cook.
I hear you, but Quinn Cook wasn't playing like he was a rookie drafted player.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is with this setup, right? What's different with the Warriors setup is the Warriors straight up signed Kevin Durant with cap space availability because Steph Curry was on a cheap deal and Clay was on a relatively cheap deal and Draymond was on a relatively cheap deal for the CBA jump or for the revenue jump, which gave them enough money to just be like, we have enough money for Kevin Durant. Let's sign Kevin Durant. And they could. The problem with that, right, is literally Kevin Durant, signed a 2-year deal that first time or a 1+1, something like that, which gave them team flexibility every single year. You are paying Bradley Beal $200 million alone for the next 4 years. That is awful. With the intention of signing Devin Booker and Kevin Durant, who is notorious for making a super team and doing nothing with it now. Bradley Beal, who really isn't even a star, isn't even a superstar. He's just a star, right? Mm-hmm. This isn't like Kyrie, KD, and Harden pairing up. It's like the Walmart version of it.
I think, though, because he's not a superstar, that might be even a better locker room and just on the court fit, because he probably acknowledges that he's going to be the third guy in their big three, and you have personalities like Harden, like KD, like Kyrie. All those dudes are superstars.
I hear your reasoning, and I agree that they'll definitely have a better on-court kind of vibe from the beginning. Because Kyrie, James Harden, and KD, the games they played together, some of the most fun basketball to watch, at least for offense.
For sure.
And it's going to be very similar this year with KD, Bradley Beal, and D-Book. Fun offense. I don't know how much I trust
Frank Vogel comes in.
Exactly.
Defensive coach.
Exactly. I don't know where defense comes in, but I'm sure it will. I know all three of those players can at least put an effort. I mean, Kevin Durant gets, I think because he's such a great scorer, people say he's a bad defender. He's really not that bad of a defender, honestly.
No, he's a good defender.
When you're that good, you have to be somewhat good at defense. Right? It's not like Trae Young where you're actively getting hunted every play because Kevin Durant's still 7 foot with the lankiest arms in the whole world. Like he's still out there ready to compete. Devin Booker takes leaps and bounds every year, I feel like, on defense, at least in defensive energy. I see more in the playoffs. He looks, he is not a defensive stopper. He's not a Paul George, but he's definitely not a liability on defense ever.
Yeah.
And Bradley Beal, it's been a minute since I've seen him in the playoffs. I'll be so honest with you. And his actualization that he's had over the past few years with the Wizards, I'm not against it anyway. So he very well could be just as serviceable as Devin Booker is on defense. I'm not really concerned about their on-court performance. I'm only concerned about how they're going to continue paying these three players. I guarantee in 2 years, this core of D-Book, KD, and Bradley Beal is broken.
Yeah, I believe that.
And I bet...
How much longer is KD on or under contract?
I think he's on a 2-year deal, if I'm not crazy.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense then.
Also, at some point during this video, when I made that tweet, I had to click into a video on Twitter, and it definitely played into our audio. So if you heard a weird noise, that was me.
There's your Easter egg, guys.
Woj isn't randomly talking in the background.
Yeah, special guest, Adrian Wojnarowski.
Nope, he is not here. I'm checking Kevin Durant's contract right now.
His what?
His contract.
Oh, his contract. Gotcha. Yeah. I don't know. Regardless, it'll be a fun team to watch. The thing that always seems to be the most interesting with the Suns as of recent years is whether or not they can get done in the playoffs. So they made it to the finals 3 years ago. It's 3 years?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Regardless, they'll be in the playoffs. It'd be a miracle in a bad way if they weren't with, the star power that they do have. But
it'd be bad.
I'll be interested to see how they do end up filling out the rest of their roster if Ayton and when Ayton's on the move. But it'll be good stuff.
I mean, even if you move Ayton at this point, you now need to find a point guard and a center, or a small forward and a center.
Mm-hmm.
That's hard to do. You really don't have
Like
space
you said,
anymore.
the Miles Turner.
That was just kind of like the thought process there, but Miles Turner he's too good to be included with another starting point guard. DeAndre Ayton isn't good enough to be that guy. Plus,
like a role player, maybe not like a starting point guard, but a role player. And I don't know if you've seen this, but if Chris Paul does get waived, which he probably will if they can't find a trade partner, the Wizards, there's some talk about him going back to the Suns originally. You remember seeing that if they did decide to cut him, he would just re-sign for a lower dollar amount.
I believe that's illegal.
Oh, illegal?
Yeah, I believe that's illegal.
Oh, shoot. It is not. Yeah, because he did get traded.
Yeah, he got traded, so he can't go back. I think it was if he got waived by the Suns, he was going to re-sign for a team-friendly deal.
Mm-hmm.
But
we'll see.
And even that was kind of up in the air and kind of weird. But because normally, why wouldn't you just restructure it? I don't know, maybe just to get the $15 million straight up to Chris Paul. But it was definitely a weird situation, and I just don't know what the Suns are gonna do for that bench. I mean, this is their current. The Mavs want to trade the number 10 pick, by the way. Their current setup for free agents is they have Damian Lee and Terrence Ross both as free agents, Torrey Craig, Josh Okogie, and Ish Wainwright, along with T.J. Warren, Darius Baisley, Jock Lawndale, and Bismack Biyombo. That's a lot. That's a lot of free agents who all played like surprisingly significant minutes for you. Yeah,
I mean, they had to point guard wise because Chris Paul did go down with that injury, but Biyombo had a lot of playoff minutes.
Jock Lawndale had some decent amount of playoff minutes.
Yeah, he was in the playoffs for a decent amount too.
I believe
I do like Okogie a lot.
Yeah,
and Torrey Craig. Those two are probably my favorite free agents that they're going to have to let walk. But
I think Torrey Craig is a significantly underrated player.
I'd agree. Yeah, those two are, in my opinion, the biggest, like, damn, that hurts walking away from that team.
Yeah.
But since, I don't know, I just thought of this, but since they do have all that star power, there's always going to be NBA vets around the league who will take those, the vet mins just to have a chance to win a ring.
But we really haven't seen that lately. At least like impressive vet minimums for players, right? We just haven't really had that happen in a minute because there's not really like great players who would be willing to take that minimum. I mean, like the most you're going to get is going to get like a Javon Carter type player, and Javon Carter already played for them.
Jeff Green, was he a vet min?
I think he was a vet
for the Nuggets this year.
I think he was a vet min.
Yeah.
Is he a free agent?
He played significant. He might be. But bro, if I'm Jeff Green, I'm retiring. I'm going out on the top.
Jeff Green is a free agent. No, he's not. He is? I can't really tell. He was on a $4.5 million a year deal.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, see.
All eyes on Phoenix.
Jeff Green is too good for a vet minimum. That's the cutoff there.
Yeah.
Who are you going to get who's better than Jeff Green? That's willing to take less money.
We'll revisit this.
Robin Lopez.
Look at the free agents. Robin Lopez. There's your backup center.
There's your starting
Captain
center.
Hook.
In all reality.
Captain Hook.
Victor Oladipo maybe wants to come for a vet min.
Maybe.
Coming off his injury.
I love Victor.
Rudy Gay after playing like 3.8 minutes per night for the Jazz.
Yep. Who knows, man?
Maybe Kemba Walker.
Kemba.
This is not a great list, and I'm looking at a lot of players right now.
Yeah. Kemba would make sense, given where he's at in his career.
Jeff Green is a free agent. My bad.
Okay. Word. Maybe hop ship. Goes to the Valley.
if they're willing to pay him more than the $4.5 million, he's probably gonna get paid with the Nuggets.
Fair enough. Bro, if I'm the Nuggets, I want to get Bruce Brown first.
Yeah, Bruce Brown's the most important player for the Nuggets.
Absolutely.
I agree. But do you want to move on? I feel like we've been stuck on the Suns for a minute now.
Yeah. No, for a decent amount. Last thing on our list here.
Big thing.
And if you didn't know, the NBA draft is coming up this Thursday.
The
22nd. So Trey and I prepared a little mock draft of the lottery.
But more importantly, June 22nd is my girlfriend's birthday. So if you have my girlfriend's phone number, just randomly at different points during the day, send at least 7 happy birthday messages to her.
That's all. If you don't have it, her number is as follows.
Don't finish this because that's not actually her number, and you're going to blow some random person's phone number up.
Hit them up.
Do not hit them up. I'm going to cut out the last 2 numbers there. What timestamp are we
at? No.
41 minutes. I got to go edit that out now.
That's hilarious.
It's not even a real number.
Tell them 50 Shades of NBA podcast sent you.
We just get our 15 listeners to market for us.
Literally. I love it. There's your guys' task of the week. But yeah,
please don't do that.
We made a mock draft.
Please don't. And it's not a whole lot mock draft. We just mocked out the lottery each.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the obvious one, we should probably talk about our first overall pick. There's a lot of thought that went into this one. A lot of in-depth analysis, and a lot of disagreements about who we both thought should go first overall. So Nathan, if you want to start us off with the Spurs, who you have them taken?
I have them taken Grady. I have them taken the obvious number 1 overall pick, Victor Wembanyama.
Victor Wembanyama is the only pick, right? I mean,
it is.
There isn't a world. They're not even taking phone calls on the pick because he's that good.
Mm.
Did you see that photo of him holding a baseball today?
Yes.
It looked like it looked like a ping pong.
Yeah, literally.
It was insane. The man's hands scare me.
Mm-hmm.
He's a terrifying man.
Yeah. So yeah, Victor won.
Victor
do you want to go bing bong? A little.
Yeah, you do one, I'll do one. You do one, I'll do one.
Perfect.
Or you do one, and then I said my one. So you do number 2, and then I'll say my number 2.
Okay, gotcha. Trey, who do you have number 1?
Tough decision, but I said Victor Wembanyama.
Ooh, good choice.
Really unheard of player coming out of France. I think the Spurs are really gonna shake it up with this pick. I think he's a sneaky first overall pick. I don't think anyone's talking about this kid. Definitely wasn't training with Rudy Gobert and Steph Curry when he was 16 years old.
Nope, not at all.
But
wasn't cooking Gobert. Yeah,
he has the 3-point shooting that everyone wants. He has the blocks. He's 7'7", right? 7 foot something. Yeah, I don't think he's 7'7". He's 7'4". He's only 19 years old. He's the perfect NBA player. One thing, I think he needs to put on a little bit more weight, similar to what Chet Holmgren had to do in the offseason.
Yep.
But that's about it. His shooting form is smooth. If you look at his percentages, it's the 96ers or something, Metropolitan 92. That's the team he plays for in France. His 3-point percentage is down, but that's just because he's that guy. So he's constantly being draped over. I think it goes up in NBA offenses all the time. Percentages don't really mean a whole lot in college or in this amateur level. So I think Victor's the only guy to go at 1. But you want me to say mine 2, and then you want to say your 2?
Yeah. Let me hear your 2.
So I think the Hornets should take and who the Hornets are going to take are 2 different things. The Hornets are going to take Brandon Miller, more than likely, out of Alabama. He is like a Paul George light, pretty much. I mean, I don't know what much else there is to say about the kid. He struggled a bit offensively during the March Madness, but still overall, I mean, he is in that second tier, and he's one of 2 players in that second tier, right? Because it's Victor and then everyone else. So it's Victor, then it's tier 2, which is one of them is Brandon Miller. And the other guy who they should take is Scoot Henderson. I believe Scoot is going to be better than Brandon Miller. The website I'm looking at has a player like who he plays like, and they say Russell Westbrook. I kind of agree to that. I think Scoot Henderson has the potential to be a better passer than Westbrook was. Mostly because I don't always think of Westbrook as having the best court vision. He has great court vision, averages double-digit assists all the time, but he kind of had that skill kind of learned. I feel like it's a very natural instinct for Scoot Henderson to pass the ball. So I like that a lot for him. Beautiful.
I originally had Brandon Miller, and I think they're going to take him. The report from Woj allegedly has Charlotte taken him. So, yeah, I mean, you highlighted the tremendous prospect that he is, Paul George light, both in his playing ability right now and his weight. I think Charlotte goes with 2. They have Rozier and LaMelo to fill out their 1 and 2 spot. If they did want to shake it up and try and move Rozier or have him be like a mentor on the court to Scoot, I'd be cool with that. But I think with Rozier as their starting 1 or starting 2, it makes sense for them to take Brandon Miller, who can go in immediately, make a big impact for that Charlotte Hornets team, who is now without an owner. That was Michael Jordan, by the way.
Yep. He's now leaving.
He's gone.
His ownership stake.
With the number 3 overall pick.
Hold on.
Okay.
The Hornets are not without an owner. He sold he sold the majority stake to the minority owner already.
That's right. My bad.
They have an owner.
And
I don't know
J. Cole is also part of the minority ownership group.
Yeah, that's right.
Man,
I love J. Cole.
I do too. Man, he's really just living like a 2K sim dude.
He really is. If you
career.
If you want to hit us with that number 3 pick, though, go right ahead. That's all I wanted to add.
With the number 3 pick of the 2023 NBA draft, the Portland Trail Blazers, assuming no trades happen, select Scoot Henderson. I saw one reporter, analyst, whatever you want to call him, say that Scoot kind of reminds them of a Zion Williamson, just how physical and athletic he is, but in a point guard's body. And you look at the dude, like without a shirt on, without a jersey on, he looks like a freaking, like a little pit bull.
He does.
He's built. He is jacked. He's definitely NBA ready in terms of the
body,
how he looks physically. Yeah. And I think his game specifically will adjust really well to the pro style. Yeah.
I also, so with my number 3 pick, I have Scoot Henderson going as well. Everything you covered, I think I agree with. He definitely has an NBA ready body. I don't know how well he's going to adjust right away. I think point guard is probably the hardest position to adjust for in the NBA from, amateur to professional status. I maintain I would have liked to see Scoot Henderson not go G League route. I wanted to see him in college. I wanted to see him against, more players, more things, more everything. But it is what it is. He played well in the G League night. I believe him and Victor Wembanyama early in the year had a game against each other. And I think Victor had like 30, Scoot had like 25 and 10 or something like that. I don't know if it was 25 and 10. He had a very good game as well. It was super cool.
Yeah.
I still think Scoot Henderson's the second best player in this league or in this draft. I think he should be. I think he's miles above Brandon Miller. I think there's a tier 1, there's a tier 2. Scoot Henderson tier 2. I think there's a tier 3 that's just Brandon Miller, and I think there's a tier 4 of everyone else.
Yeah,
but like in my situation, there's no way the Trailblazers make this pick. This pick is going to New Orleans for Zion Williamson more than likely, if Brandon Miller ends up going to. And I will be buying a Zion Williamson Trailblazers jersey before I get that Joel Embiid jersey.
I'm not even mad about it.
Gotta be. I'll also probably get a Scoot Henderson New Orleans jersey, to be honest.
That'd be pretty sick too.
And a Victor. I want jerseys. I want more jerseys.
I know, bro.
You want me to go with my number 4?
Let's hear number 4.
So number 4, I have another a Villanova guy going. Another forward similar to Brandon Miller. I have Cam Whitmore going out of Villanova. He's 6'7", 232. he plays that small forward, power forward position. I know Nathan's sad because he wants Cam Whitmore to go to the Jazz, who are looking at trading up in this draft. I don't think Houston will probably do a trade with the Jazz, but I don't think Houston's smart enough to take Cam Whitmore. I feel like they're going to draft probably Amen Thompson, the point guard Thompson brother. I just don't think they need another young guard on that team. I think Cam Whitmore is coming out of Villanova. Nova players are usually more humble, more, listen to coaching than I feel like a lot of the thing is. And that's another knock on Amen Thompson. He also went overtime elite instead of the college route. Would have loved to see him in that college position. So I have Cam Whitmore going here at 4.
I like it. And because you highlighted Houston and how they have been drafting and just player acquisition over the past couple of years, that is why I have the Houston Rockets at 4 taking Amen Thompson. For all the reasons you just said.
Yeah, I mean,
it doesn't make sense. Like guard wise, they have so many young guards that can play just with proper coaching and player development, all that, And I think Ime Udoka will help a lot with maturing their young roster. But that being said, I think Amen Thompson going number 4. So that brings me to number 5. Oh, okay.
I do think Amen Thompson is better than Cam Whitmore. I really do. I think Amen Thompson, similar to Scoot Henderson, has that natural passing ability and that natural passing instinct. I think Scoot's just better at it, but I think Amen has that same level of like passing and just that killer instinct, that killer court vision type thing. I just think he has to get better at honing that more often. But I think Amen Thompson is better than Cam Whitmore.
I like it. At number 5, the Detroit Pistons will go with Jarace Walker. They don't need a guard. They got Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey. And I think it would just really help fill out either their 3 or their 4 with Sadiq Bey. Center-wise, they got a couple young pieces. I'm thinking of Wiseman. I'm thinking of, maybe I'm not thinking of anyone else because I'm blanking on their other center's name.
Oh.
Yeah, Bagley.
Isaiah Stewart?
Yeah, you got Isaiah Stewart too. So
Jalen
I think
Durant.
The biggest lack right now for the young Pistons roster is, a forward, either a 3 or a 4. So Jarace Walker.
I 100% agree with you. I think their biggest need is forward. If Cam Whitmore wasn't taken by the Rockets, I would have them taking, Cam Whitmore. I think he's a perfect fit for them. But yeah, I agree. Jarace Walker's the pick here for the Pistons. Same reasons you had. Marvin Bagley III clearly plays a lot better for the Pistons than he did for the Kings, but he's still not, starter great level type guy.
Yeah.
I think they don't really need one of the Thompson twins. They don't need a Mena or a Soar. So I think in reality, at this point, the Pistons would be looking to trade back because I feel like Jarace Walker, if not for the Pistons, is probably going to fall to 6, 7, 8 maybe.
No more value.
I agree with you. Jarace Walker's the pick here for me as well. Do you want me to run into number 6? You got anything else you want to say?
Yeah, let's hear it.
Number 6, I have the Orlando Magic. And I was really at a struggle here. I didn't know who I wanted them to take because I feel like they always take a guard or they always take a center. But there isn't a whole lot of great forwards left. So I'm actually going to have them, I think, take... Let me think here. I'm going to have them take Taylor Hendricks from UCF, power forward.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm going to switch it up. I'm going to switch it up.
Okay.
I have not watched nearly as much Taylor Hendricks tape as I have literally probably any other prospect in this class, or at least in the lottery. But I do like Taylor Hendricks. I just don't think he's as good as Jarace Walker. I think it's a big fall-off between those two. But drafting for need, Taylor Hendricks, I think, is the pick there. Who knows if Jonathan Isaac's ever going to return for a significant amount of time, so they need to have something else they can do with that guy. I like Taylor Hendricks. I think he's going to be a solid player. I almost have them take Amen Thompson just because Jalen Suggs really hasn't worked out the way they want it to. He hasn't been quite as great as one would want him to be, but I love Jalen Suggs, so I had them take Taylor Hendricks.
I like it. I have the Orlando Magic at number 6, taking the other Thompson brother, Asur Thompson. Um, Kind of what you just said, just with their point guard and two guard, it's kind of lacking. Not that they don't have players there, but Suggs, I think,
Mm-hmm.
in at least my eyes anyway, hasn't really lived up to what I thought he would be, especially coming off of his great March Madness run in college. And then, uh, like Markel Fultz, no disrespect to him and his journey, he's not going to be, a difference maker to help them get over that hump um, in a starting role. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I like Asur Thompson. A little bit of a project, some player development again, but that's kind of where the Orlando Magic are with, the state of their franchise.
Yeah, for me, I think Asor Thompson has like the mentality of a shooting guard with the physicality of a small forward, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
he falls more in that kind of range. I don't like that. I don't mind that pick at all, honestly. The only reason I didn't have them take Asur is because Amen was still on the board, and
Mm-hmm.
Amen's going to go before Asur, so they went next best option. But again, another team that might be looking to trade down, get one of the Thompson brothers off the board.
For sure.
Also, I do think Markel Fultz is the answer long term. Markel Fultz is great
Wow.
for them. He's really solid. I wish him nothing but happiness. He makes me sad at night sometimes, but it's not his fault. It's Philadelphia's
Fair
fault.
enough.
So love me with some
Mhm.
Markel.
For sure. Word. That being said, at number 7, the Indiana Pacers picking Cam Whitmore, who
Dang,
the Detroit Pistons passed up on.
disrespected.
Yeah, I like him a lot. I do wish in a ideal world he'd fall to 9 to the Jazz, but yeah, Cam Whitmore, number 7 to the Indiana Pacers.
I like the pick. Cam Whitmore. We already talked about him. I think he's a good player. I don't think he's super specialized at anything, but I think he's good at most
Mm-hmm.
things. So I like that pick for the Pacers. For the Pacers. Their pre-draft workouts. I don't know if you follow them on Instagram, but
Mm-hmm.
they post all of their pre-draft workout like guys they're inviting, and it's
Very cool.
so many forwards over and over and over
Yeah.
again, just forwards and forwards and forwards. So I like
Mm-hmm.
the pick. With my pick for the Pacers, though, I'm gonna stop Amen Thompson's slide. I'm gonna have him take Amen Thompson.
Okay.
They already had Halliburton, but really you cannot have too much passing on an NBA team. And Amen
Mm-hmm.
does have that court vision that I love, and him and Tyrese Halliburton, Tyrese is gonna average 10 assists. Amen's gonna average probably 5 to 7 his rookie year. I'd say 7 is
Mm-hmm.
really generous. I think he ends up averaging like 5.6, 6.1, something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Somewhere in that range, but I think he's
Really
going to
great.
be a good addition to their squad. And even if he doesn't end up being like, because he has the body size to be a starting shooting guard. He's
Mm-hmm.
6'7", he's 200 pounds, but he doesn't have the shooting necessary. Really, I haven't
Mm-hmm.
really seen much from his shooting in terms of like that would make me fall in love with it. But I
Yeah.
think his passing ability and I think his overall ceiling is too good to pass up here.
Word. I like it.
At
I
number
like
8.
it. I like it.
For the Wizards, we have a team that just is so like ready for a rebuild and primed everything for this season to be the start of the rebuild. So I'm gonna have
Mm-hmm.
them take another high upside player, same family even, Asur Thompson. We're gonna slot him in right in where Bradley Beal's leaving. See if he can get buckets.
Back-to-back
See if
Thompson.
he can really do back to back. I'm gonna have my Thompson twins go, but I'm gonna really see what they can do there, and just see. I hope I'm really wrong about them, and I hope they're both really great. I just don't know how much I'm in love with them at this point. So I'm gonna have Asur go
Mm-hmm.
8. I want to see more shooting from him. He was better than his brother at shooting, and honestly, he did average more assists last time I checked than Amen did. But I think that was more kind of circumstance than anything because I think it was like super
Yeah.
similar. But Asur, I believe, is a better scorer than Amen, so I'm gonna say Asur to the Wizards.
All right. I like it. At number 8, I have the Washington Wizards embracing their rebuild and realizing the hole that they now have in the roster at the guard position, and they're going to draft a 6'7" Anthony Black out of Arkansas. Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about him and his game because truthfully, I don't really know. I just know positional wise and size-wise, it just seems like a great fit, especially after this Bradley Beal stuff. I don't know why they wouldn't look to try and draft a guard for the future to try and build around. Yeah, number 8, Wizards, Anthony Black. And moving on to my Utah Jazz, we are going to pick Taylor Hendricks.
That's a good pick. I like that pick.
I really want the Jazz to draft a forward if they can't get somehow or like trading up to Amen Thompson. I really want him to go after a forward, and assuming Anthony Black, who has really good size at the guard position, goes before, I think Taylor Hendricks is the next best pick for him. So yeah,
I like that pick. I'm actually with the Utah Jazz. I'm gonna use your last pick. I'm also gonna take Anthony Black from Arkansas.
Word.
Everything you said, I want him to be. You don't know where Jordan Clarkson's gonna be. You really, you only have Laurie and Walker. You really need that backcourt presence.
Colin Sexton might be on the block now too.
Sexton might be on the block. I would love to see what Anthony Black has from that team. I like his passing ability, of course. I like his scoring ability. I like his size. I just need to see more from him for him to end up moving up on this board. But yeah, I have Anthony Black going around the same range. I have him going to the Jazz at pick 9. And then with the Mavericks, I think this is going to be the last one we do today, just so we are good on time and good on battery and all the things. But I think for me personally, I'm going to break every Magic fan's heart, and I'm going to have them take Grady Dick at 10. I don't think Dick is good enough to go at 10, but I think with Luka, I mean, that's really what you need. He's not a great defender, but he's an effort defender. Like he takes the time, he puts his body on the line. He's just not good at it. His defensive instincts are there, but that's something that can be kind of trained up. I feel like he's not strong enough to really go through NBA players. I feel like he runs around a lot on screens. And like his biggest strength is his shooting, obviously. So everyone knows him for.
Yeah.
He's not necessarily the best off-ball movement kind of guy, or off-ball, like get open for the 3, work without the ball kind of guy. But with Luka on your team, you really don't need that kind of guy. You need someone who can knock down those open shots. And we've seen that from Grady Dick. He's probably one of the best spot-up shooters in the entire... He's probably the best spot-up shooter in the entire draft, right? And it's similar to... I don't know if you remember this. When Cam Johnson was drafted by the Suns, everyone called it way too early of a pick because he wasn't, he didn't show as much as he could in college. They just knew he could shoot the 3 better than anyone else. And that proved to be one of the most valuable things because it gave him a reason to be on the court, and being on the court raises, your potential, helps you get to those higher skill levels. Cam Johnson was a super important piece in that Kevin Durant trade, and was a super important piece of that entire Suns run to the championship. So I think Grady Dick has to be the pick here. In reality, the Mavericks are going to trade this pick more than likely, because they shouldn't, in the first place, they shouldn't even have this pick, because this pick belonged to the Knicks as long as it was outside of the top 10, and it landed at 10. So that's brutal for the Knicks. But yeah, I think absolutely that's the thing there is Grady Dick should go to the Mavericks, and I love that fit. But I'm sorry for the entire Magic fan base who wanted to see a Suggs Dick backcourt.
Robbing the fans, dude.
Robbing the fans.
Haven't Magic fans been through enough?
No, they had Dwight Howard and Shaquille O'Neal. If they can't win with that,
but no titles to show for it.
That's on them. That's not my fault.
It's heartbreaking. My heart goes out to you, Magic fans. So at number 10, I'm not going to break your heart and take Grady Dick. The Dallas Mavericks will go with Jet Howard, a 6'8" forward, who also is a very good 3-point shooter. Not sure what he brings defensively, honestly, but he's a good shot maker. And surprisingly, the Dallas Mavericks weren't the best 3-point shooting team. And I think that helps. You have a dude like Kyrie and Luka, who are fantastic playmakers. So hopefully you get a rookie who maybe could emulate some Keegan Murray rookie year numbers and break the 3-point record for a rookie. I'm not saying he will, but, I'm just saying ideally that's what you want to get out of him. Yeah, good size, 6'8", and can shoot the ball well.
I like that
Yeah,
pick.
that's
I
where I
like that
ended.
pick. We both went the same route with 3-point shooting and players to complement, not to star. So I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's where we're going to cut it off. I think we're going to cut it off at 10.
Sure.
Mostly because my computer's about to die, but I think that's the reason.
Fair enough.
But yeah, it's exciting. It's exciting for sure. I'm looking forward to the draft. Nathan, where are you going to be watching the draft?
I will be watching the draft.
Okay, you're going to have to text me updates.
Sit down with some popcorn. Okay. Sounds good. I will. Like, oh my God. The Jazz traded for the number 1 overall pick.
Oh my gosh, they took Jarace Walker still.
Oh my God.
Where would you have wanted Victor Wembanyama to go? Beginning of this, who did you want him to fall to? That wasn't the Jazz, obviously.
I didn't, honestly. San Antonio made the most sense. That's where I wanted to see him like do well, because I think franchise-wise, coach-wise, that's the best possible spot he could have gone to. Rockets, I wouldn't have liked it. Portland would have been really cool.
Yeah,
they're probably my number 2, but the Hornets, no, because I feel like they'd mess that up somehow.
Yeah,
literally, it was the Spurs and Portland.
It was for me as well. That's what I thought. I think that's what most people want who aren't, casuals.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough.
So
yeah, that's what I wanted.
With that being said, Nathan, It's been real.
It's been fun,
and it's been real fun.
It's been really fun.
It's been real nice.
Indeed.
All right, deuces.
Deuces.